What's up, people? Welcome to another edition. My God, I haven't even started drinking it. Of the New Breed podcast, the world's best music podcast, talking everything brutal, new death, hard slam, grind, thrash, core, metal. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM. Tim, how are you feeling?
Oh, just great.
I know you love this rainy weather here. You love it. You love it. You're so excited. Tim hates the cold. Tim hates the cold. And joining us this week, we have a very special guest coming from across the ocean. We have the man himself, Harvey, from the band Graphic Nature. Harvey, thank you so much for joining us.
No worries at all.
We are glad to have you. So, Harvey, I'm going to start off with a simple question, right? So, say I sidle up next to you at the bar. We're having a couple of drinks, and I ask you what you do, and you tell me you're a musician. I say, oh, okay. And then I say, okay, well, Harvey, what kind of music do you play? How would you describe you guys' music to someone who'd never heard you before?
Oh, I instantly just go to we're a metal band. Because
okay.
People are automatically like, I don't even know what genre we are. I know like a lot of people have said that we're like new metal or new metalcore or just metal, or I don't know what the fuck it is, but to someone that's not heard it, it's just fucking metal music. It's heavy, it's aggressive, and yeah, your parents probably won't like it. And yeah.
Well said. And I wanted to open with that because when Tim and I were going back and forth about this episode, and then the album came out and I was listening to it, I was texting him in real time and I'm going, Tim, I don't know how to describe this, but I fucking love it. Like, is it metal? Is it new metal? Is it all the things you said? Metalcore? There's some deathcore, some coming in from the back end. I'm like, dude, this is a perfect montage of all these things, and I think it's fucking a monster. So that's fantastic.
So maybe it's like a new wave of like metalcore that's like happening. Honestly,
yeah.
It's like you have the new elements, but then there's just like that new wave of the metalcore, because it's not like the regular metalcore where it's the singing chorus.
Yeah.
Screaming verse, you know what I mean? It's just got like a different flavor to it.
As.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Kill Switch, Bullet, Parkway Drive, like something like that's metalcore to me.
Yeah, SLA Dying, yeah.
Yep. Whenever someone says metalcore, the first thing I think about in my mind, for whatever reason, it's the It Dies Today album cover with the clock. Was it Big Ben on the clock, the Cative Choir or whatever? Whenever someone says metalcore, that's the first thing my mind goes to. And I guess that's just indicative of the genre. So Harvey, so you have the new album out, A Mind Waiting Tonight. I fucking love it. I literally, it's in my most recent Scrabbles now since it's come out. Let's talk a little bit about the band, Harvey, about some history. So, how'd you guys get your start? How'd you all meet? And then what led you down this path?
We all played in previous bands before, and like two of our old bands had like played shows together. I think we played like one show together, and then like my old band kind of just broke off because it was a bit of fun between like friends. Like I'd been in previous bands before that, and I just wanted to do something new. So like tick me over like throughout summer and shit. And when that finished, I put out a status on Facebook and was like, if anyone's looking for a vocalist, like let me know. So the guys that are, we are now Graphic Nature, but we were in a band before, and they were basically like, oh, we're thinking of, starting something new, but we've got these shows that are coming up. Like, do you just want to jump on for a few shows and then like we can kind of get to know each other? So I did that for like, 4 months or something, played the rest of the shows with those boys. And then they were like, right, cool. We don't want to do this anymore, but we've got this idea for a band. We don't know what the band's going to be like, but we know we want to call it Graphic Nature. And they were like, are you in? And I was like, yeah, sure. Fuck it. We'll see what we can do. And we wrote maybe like 5 to 10 songs of like alternating genres to kind of figure out what we wanted to sound like. And then, we kind of landed on Grit, which was our first song. And as soon as we heard that, like over WhatsApp, like there was no question about it. Like everyone was on board and we were like, yeah, that's the sound we want to do. Just awesome. Reminiscent of what we all used to listen to and continue to listen to now. Just that new metal-esque thing with a bit of drum and bass and shit. So yeah, it worked out lovely, and I was fucking surprised it did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, you can definitely hear the new metal influences in it, but I wouldn't really call the band new metal. Like a lot of people these days just
they throw that label on everything.
Everything, and it's just like, dude, relax, man. Like it's got a bounce riff here and there. Get like chill out, man.
Right.
It's dude. I'll tell you what, man. I remember we did a reaction video to something on the first EP, and I just was like blown away at like the color scheme of it. Remember that, Jay?
Yes.
All the purples and stuff. I was like, yo, this video looks so sick, dude.
Amazing.
What was that? What was that first? That was the first EP.
Yeah, it was on the
What
first
hell was it
EP,
called?
but I forget the name of the song that we did.
Yeah, I forget what song we did.
But yeah, your aesthetic, Harvey,
Yeah.
is really very striking, right? Like I like it's clean, but it makes you wonder, right? In the sense of it's very dark. There's some dark greens. I read I think it was a posting. It was either an interview or it was a posting, I think on the Rise Records website, where you said your lyrics talk a lot about mental health.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that, and then looking at the artwork and then listening to the songs, I'm like, yeah, this definitely all fits and comes together in a way where it's not so. I mean, some bands can get away with brazen and blatant, like so leaving nothing to the imagination. It's not like that. It's more subtle. I get more subtle hints from it, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just something that I think we had that as soon as we wrote Grit, we kind of like figured out the look for like the aesthetic of the band that we wanted to go for. But it all didn't really come into place until we done the video for Defect. Like if you go back and watch the first couple of videos, it's the same coloring, but like none of us are wearing like a uniform per se.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were just wearing what we thought was good, and then it kind of got to the point where we were like chatting between each other, like, you know, that there are so many times where you're about to go on stage and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to wear. Like this t-shirt from last night is still soaking wet. Do I wear that, or do I go and fucking, you know, get a new t-shirt to wear? All of this, it was really fucking boring shit. But that came to the point where we were like, look, let's just have a fucking outfit for the stage that we can wear the whole time, that fits in, like we wear it in the music videos, wear it in the promos, wear it on stage. You know, if we're around the venue, we'll wear it. And it just kind of worked. And that, you know, teal, turquoisey kind of coloring has stuck with us ever since. And it's not even meant to represent anything. Man. It's just weird.
But it works. It works, and I can imagine, and as never being a touring musician, I can imagine it probably makes your life easier to have that uniform. I'll never forget. I saw. I think I saw it was Fuming Mouth and Creeping Death played in Philly, and I just happened to walk outside as the guys from Fuming Mouth were loading the van in, and Mark, the lead singer, is like hanging his shirt out to dry because and I caught him. He went, oh, and you can tell he smelled his t-shirt. He's like, it's terrible. But I walked over, I'm like, oh man, that's terrible, huh? We got to wrap it, but yeah, it's got to be easier, and it's not like you're wearing those giant Slipknot heavy corduroy, you know, like uniforms. Which can you imagine the poor guy that's got to do the laundry for that tour, right?
There's got to be multiples for like a band of that size. There has to be like, you know, wardrobes full of like, here's week 1, here's week 2.
Right. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Just it's got to be terrible.
I was just thinking about that too, and it's a cool band to bring up because they're from over there as well. Is Sleep Token? Like, how are them dudes going to play outside festivals when it's hot out wearing that shit? That's crazy, man.
I mean, we're doing a festival with them in August, and August is usually kind of like peak summer for us. And it's an outside festival, so I'm really excited to see how they fare.
Oh, they're playing?
Like, because like I can wear shorts if I really wanted to. I can wear shorts, but those guys are like dedicated to the cause. This is the look, the characters. It's all there. You can't like you know, one show. Oh, I'm going to wear a vest and shorts. Like you're in it now. Like you've committed. So
well, here's my next question. So, what do you have? What info you have on them? Who are they? Somebody knows.
I'm not allowed to say.
So you do know though?
Maybe.
Is it? You know what? You don't have to spill. But I'm just assuming they were in previous like metal bands or hardcore bands, and they just all got together, kind of thing.
I'm not 100% sure. I know some of them were, but I know some of them also. This is their first band.
Oh, okay. And I'm assuming they're like trained musicians, so you could just tell by the musicians
how they play. It's like Imperial Triumphant, right? Those guys get on stage and you're like, whoa, these are art students who are also musicians, where you're like, right. What festival, Harvey? What festival?
Reading and Leeds.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I went to the cinema today with my wife, and as we were going like in the underground station, there's just a big poster for Reading, and I was like, that's my fucking band's name. That's fucking awesome.
That's
take a photo
awesome,
of
dude.
it. So that's cool.
Sick.
That is really, really cool. So I'm assuming you guys do touring. Have you hit Europe yet, or has it all been on the mainland? Or okay,
yeah,
cool.
we went over to Europe. maybe June or July last year with See You Space Cowboy and a band called Cauldron. We done like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, Cauldron's good. Yeah.
Cauldron are great. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. Like a couple of shows were super packed and other shows not so much, but we were just fucking happy to be out there. Like the shows were like, you know, the cherry on the top of the cake, but like the rest of it was just fucking awesome. Like we just explored a shit ton. We got those like Lime scooter things, like the, you know, the electric scooters.
Mm-hmm.
We spent so much money on those, just like being complete like tourists, like Brits abroad. But yeah, it was fucking fun.
Selfishly, Harvey, I have to ask: any thoughts on coming across the pond in the States?
Yeah, of course. It's one of those things, though. It's like we need to be able to do our own market first, and kind of secure that in the UK and Europe.
Okay.
But that's not to say, like, if we got a decent tour over there tomorrow, and there was enough funding for it, and we could actually afford to fly out ourselves, we're always fucking ready to go. So, if the right tour come, who fucking knows? We could be there next month.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have found that, and Tim, you'd probably agree with me, the bands that come over here from overseas get a lot of attention. Lot of attention because, and plus, I also think it's post-COVID. People realize that, hey, you never know what the world's going to throw at you. So if you get the opportunity, you might as well go. I caught the Loathe tour where they did the last album in its entirety, and it was them, a Static Dress, and a couple bands from here. And it was sold out, and it was sold out months in advance, and it was legit packed, and everybody was singing along. Like, that's an awesome vibe. But there's the bands that and I give Joe Hardcore credit too. He brings a lot of bands over for This Is Hardcore from the UK. He's brought over stuff from Japan. It's always really cool to see stuff that you normally wouldn't see, and that gets you, honestly, for those of us that are old and metabolically challenged, it gets you up off the couch, right? It's like, I got to go see this because I never know if I'm going to get a chance to see them again. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to talk about like the UK scene right now because that shit has been getting huge recently, especially with like the genre you guys are like, we'll just call it metalcore for now. Yeah. But I remember bands like Dream Eater and stuff that were getting, putting out some stuff, and there's just a shitload of bands. And this started like years ago, man. You remember a band called Heights? Yeah. Are they still doing something?
No, Heights disbanded years ago.
Okay, I thought so.
Funnily enough, the drummer of Heights used to manage like my first band.
What a surprise!
2010.
Does not surprise me. That band ruled. But yeah, they're like, I feel like the scene over there, like it was big in like the 90s with hardcore and stuff, and early 2000s. But then I felt like I never really heard much over there. Now it's just like the hype over there is huge, man. Like, there's a band that was on your guys' label on Rude. I think they broke up though, but they put a record out in 18. I forget the fucking band's name, but they sound like you guys have a similar sound.
Is it Blood Youth?
Yes, Blood Youth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember like hearing them and I'm like, dude, where is this band from? I'm thinking, probably fucking California or something. And then I see UK and I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like there's so many good bands over there. Like, what's going on over there? You guys just like, is the age of like the people in the band just getting to the time where like, it's time to put out music? Like it seems like it's a lot of young kids, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like what I just said makes sense.
There was like a real like staleness to like the scene for the longest time for me anyway. And I feel like, 2018 onwards, like till now, that's when all the bands have kind of come out of the woodwork. And I think it's a lot of people, like every band that you see now, they've probably been in bands before and have like done the fucking touring circuit for so many years to the point where they now understand what they want to do. And then they reach their like final band. And you'll see that, with like Blood Youth, they've been going for so long. And then I can't remember the record they released, but it had like Spineless on it. And that fucking riff was so sick.
Yeah.
And it just kind of took off for them. And then like, you got bands like Loathe who have now done their thing, Sleep Token, Static Dress. There's so many good bands in the UK. So it's a weird one. It's now there's too much, not too much. But, now there's so many good bands. Like
it definitely helps.
Before there wasn't.
It raises the tide, right? And it forces. I would think that it also forces all of you artists to come in with your A game, right? Because there's more competition. Tim and I were talking about the other day. You're starting to see, and maybe it's just the wonders of the internet. Maybe it's just Hate 5-6 being so prevalent that everybody can see these things now. But the bands coming out of Western Canada, right? So stuff like Serration and stuff like Trench and what was it? World of Pain, Tim?
Yeah, World of
Like
Pleasure.
World of Pleasure. Right? I was close. I was other side. But there's a lot of stuff starting to come out of the woodwork where it's like, God damn, these kids are really turning it in. And
Yeah.
they're taking sound that was big in the late 90s and the early aughts and making it really fresh and really enjoyable, which is really, really cool.
That's what I like about music now is like, obviously, you know, back in the 90s, it was very much nu metal heavy, you know, grunge was kind of before that. And then it kind of went into that emo scene, metalcore type thing. But now it's so fun to see bands that are like, okay, cool. I don't just need to stick to one genre. I can be like, here's some fucking nu metal. And then I'm going to add some other different thing to it. And then mush it together. And it works so well because like I've said it before in interviews, like drum and bass has the same markings of a metal song. It has a build up, it has a bridge, it has a breakdown, and it has like all of these other things. So when you layer that with fucking metal music, it's like, what the fuck? It just sounds so fucking cool.
Yeah.
So,
you just maybe go on, Tim.
I was just thinking too, like when you were talking about the one band, like that little lull. I think the UK scene popped when Basement got huge.
Yeah. Basement,
and then as soon as Basement puts out Color Me and Kindness, it's like every band out of the UK was just fucking crazy big, man. So I every time me and Jay find a new band that we really like, I'm like, let me guess where they're from.
And he's getting better at it too. Whenever I think of some of my favorite stuff coming from the UK, it always goes back to the original Your Demise with George. Like like that last full length they did was so viciously just abrasive. Like I go back and listen to that stuff all the time and I'm like, yo, that was the like I remember ordering that original LP off of MySpace. Like that's talking about I remember like sending them a check in the mail. Like it's so wild. Cool. But yeah, that his voice was just vicious and my God, the blood stays on the blade, just some wild shit.
That's where I've taken I take all of my influences for vocals from that hardcore scene. Because I've never been good at like deathcore or metal vocals, but I grew up, you know, listening to bands like Go It Alone and Comeback Kid. And there's a band recently that Andrew from Comeback Kid produces called Don't Try. They used to be Boundaries, but I think they changed their name because there's another band called Boundaries. They are so fucking sick. And his voice is so harsh and so angry. I'm like, that's exactly the kind of music they want to do. They just put out a song called Crumbs. And it's fucking rad. But yeah, back onto the Your Demise thing. I think I was listening to that record while we were writing A Mind Waiting to Die. And they've got that one track which is like a drum and bass, like kind of garage track. And I think I said to my guitarist Pete, I was like, we should definitely do a song that's like this. That's just one track and like doesn't have to mean anything, but it just sounds cool. I'm so certain I was listening to that and that was the idea that we had, because that album's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And I remember at the time there was an interview with George where he said something to the effect of drum and bass is going to be the future. It's going to be huge. And it's kind of funny how it's all come back around. But so what else, Harvey, when you were a kid? I mean, we talked about Your Demise. What other bands were you listening to that really kind of blew your mind and made you say, shit, I want to do music. This is the thing for me.
I mean, Slipknot were the first ones for me that made me want to do music. Like I started drumming when I was 9. And I think I got into Slipknot when I was like 12 or 11. And I basically just like listened to them constantly and was like, holy shit, I want to be Joey Jordison. Like I just want to be in a band and play music like Joey Jordison can. So they were like the real fucking prevalent act in my life that made me want to start music. But bands like Architects, Under Oath, Fight Star, everything from that kind of metalcore scene was still very inspirational to me because pretty much all of the drummers there were awesome. And like I didn't know I wanted to do vocals till 2015, 2016. So I'd been a touring drummer for so long, and then when I kind of got fed up with that, I was like, you know what, let's just try do vocals.
makes your load in life much easier, eh, Harvey?
Oh,
right?
Yeah. But this is the thing now, because the rest of my band don't know how to set up drums apart from my drummer. Whenever we're setting up the stage, I'm like, I'll set up the cymbal stands with you. You know, I'll set up your hi-hat, I'll do everything else. Like, but yeah. Loading's definitely easier for me, but we still all chip in. So
Yeah, it's like you got your little bag with the zipper. You pull your mic out. There you go.
yeah, that's literally it.
I remember when I stopped playing drums and went to guitar, I was like, "Fuck, man! I thought this was gonna be easier. These fucking heads are goddamn heavy, man."
Oh, dude, the fuck! Like when we're carrying heads, I think we take 3 or 4 on tour, and you can tell, like the guys will pick up the like lighter ones first, and then
Yeah.
we've got like a big orange. I don't know what it is, but fuck me, and it's like 2 hands, and you need some as well to just fucking lift it into the venue.
Yo, yeah, I was gonna say, isn't it the
That's-
best when you get to the venue and you open the door? It's just like the fucking 28 steps, and you're like, "Fuck, come on, dude."
Dude, we played Sin City last year in Wales with Cancer Bats, and they
Oh,
got there
wow.
before us, set up everything, and then we were like, all right, cool, where's the lift? And it's like, yeah, there's no lift. This is 5 flights of stairs. And it's like, cool. And then like I was just like, look, was speaking to Jay from Cancer Bats. I was like, dude, can we just borrow your bass cab like for tonight? And he was like, nope, if we had to do it, you got to bring yours up as well. So
Mhm.
we were like, fuck.
and it's an 8x10 Mesa.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's so
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
awkward to carry, and the wheels are broke and everything. But yeah,
Brutal, man. Yeah, I don't miss that shit at all, dude.
You would hope that someday somebody from some ex-musician is going to design their own venue, and they're going to know there's got to be either a floor jack or something so you can lift everything and just load it right in at size. I mean, speaking of every time I see a band playing an Orange Head, I walk in and I see the Orange Head, and my first thought is, fuck, I hope my earplugs hold out, because you just know the band is going to be loud.
Yeah.
Like, and that to me in the back of my listener brain is like Danger Will Robinson, wear extra earplugs, like Fuming Mouth, and like bands like Sun. Like when they pull out the Orange Head, you're like, oh my God, there go my eardrums.
Yeah.
So Timmy, maybe I was thinking of something I wanted to ask.
Well, while you're thinking, so tell us about the way you guys were going about releasing the singles and then just the album out of nowhere, because I don't remember seeing anything about an album coming out. I just kept seeing singles, and I was like, damn, they're putting out a lot of stuff. I didn't even think maybe an album's coming. But when we were talking about doing this, I was talking to Jay. I was like, yeah, I was gonna talk about the singles thing, and then I got an alert on my phone. Graphic Nature just put out new music, because on my Apple Music, it'll tell me when you guys put out like a certain band's. Like if I put the star on you guys, I'll get a message, and then I was like, "Holy shit! They just put a new record out." And then I messaged Jay. I'm like, "All right, well here's the new record," and he's like, "Oh shit, okay." Yeah, man. Tell us about the way you guys did that, because I found that kind of intriguing.
So I'll take you like a bit before that. Basically, when we released New Skin, the day that was released, which was I think like a week ago, last year, we were already in the studio writing and recording the album, because we initially planned to have 2 releases on the same year. We were meant to do New Skin at the start of the year, and then Mind Waiting to Die, the full length, at the end of the year. But that didn't work out, because I think Slipknot were releasing their album the same month that we were going to, and we didn't really want to go under the radar. And then as well, there was a backup with like vinyl production. So we spoke about like, okay, cool, if this thing's being delayed, then we need to make sure we've got vinyl ready to go. So obviously that happened, lovely, and it sold out, and that's fucking cool. But with the singles thing, we released, I think Into the Dark and Bad Blood was the first, then it was White Noise, and then when we released Killing Floor in December or November, that's when we announced the album. But I think it only got announced on YouTube and then like a post on our Instagram, and then we didn't really push it until maybe the start of this year.
Oh, okay.
So it was like
I didn't even see that.
A month break. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy you say. I didn't see the release or that at all. So that's surprising to me.
So I want to ask you, Harvey, we're starting to see more of that now, where bands will release a single, then they will announce an album. By the time the album comes out, there's 7 songs you haven't heard, 4 you might have. Is this something that bands are doing these days? And is it, what's the thought process behind it? Is it keeping fresh, keeping yourself in your fans' minds? Like, what is that? Because I'm noticing more and more bands do it. I'm kind of curious as to where that MO comes from.
Yeah, I mean, for us, this album cycle started when Into the Dark came out. regardless of whether anyone else knew about it. It was like that was very much the thing. And for us with our label, it was very much a trial and error kind of thing. So Into the Dark being a double single and like a huge long music video with 2 songs was a trial for us. Like we hadn't really seen other bands do it, so they were like, just try it, see how it goes. And I found that it didn't work as well as we'd hoped, so then it was like, cool, we'll do 1 single at a time kind of thing. But we ended up releasing about 5 songs before the album came out, and this is purely just because, you know, we're in a generation now where TikTok is very much a prevalent thing in, you know, our age people, and especially younger kids. If you're not constantly posting content, you can easily fly under the radar of, oh yeah, that band that released a song 6 months ago, oh, they got a record now, that's kind of cool, maybe I'll listen to it. But if you've got a constant flow of things that are coming out and that they remain, you know, as high quality as possible, then by the time the album comes out, like I see it as like, you know, we release 1 song, someone's like, okay, cool, like someone's band's released a new song, whatever, I'm not gonna listen to it. Second time a single comes out, they're like, oh, that band's name's come up again, like maybe I'll check them out if I've got time. By the third, you know, single comes out, they're like, fucking hell, I've seen this band's name everywhere, I'm just gonna fucking check out and just click on a song. And that was kind of how it worked, because Into the Dark and White Noise, they did well in their own regards, but when Killing Floor come out, that thing's at like 270,000 views or something crazy.
Nice.
And it's just like, I don't know how it got to that point. I'm putting it down to the fact that it's the same name as a video game and people just kind of click on it and think it's like the song for a video game or some shit. But no, it fucking worked. I don't care.
I mean, sometimes it's just that time. Sometimes there's, you know, there's hard, like release days are just very slow and small, and then you guys just happen to put it out, and boom, people are.
Yeah.
I know on Apple Music, like if you go in the new release section, like you'll see all that stuff, and it's like last week, I'm like, damn, man, nothing came out this week. But then you go to like the new songs, and it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like, oh shit, okay. That's where I was finding your guys' singles at. It would be like in the new song stuff. And then when I hit the star, like after a couple singles, that's when they told me about the new record. But like, that's where I would find your guys' stuff at, like in the, you know, best new song category, it would come out. I'm like, shit, they got another one. I'm like, this is great, man.
Yeah.
I actually like this approach because to your point, there's almost too much music, right? There's almost too much. It's the internet makes it too easy. It's overwhelming. And if you know a band, like you said, Harvey puts out quality, it's a single, it's a video, they put out another one, you're constantly thinking about it, and then when they announce an album, you're like, oh shit, I've liked the first 4 songs, I've got to pre-order this, so I got to make a note here that I want to check this out when it comes out. Taking it back to another example, look at what Sleep Token's done. They've done 4 or 5 different songs, videos for each song, and they, like you said, it's quality and it keeps building, and then they announce an album, and you're like, well shit, click pre-order, done, okay, done, good, whatever.
I think that's the cool thing with Sleep Token is they can literally drop. There's, I think, gone are the days of like promo videos. You know, like when bands are like, this song's coming in 4 days, and then you forget about it. Like Sleep Token are just like, here's a song with a video, and it's like, oh shit, I didn't expect that, and then like kind of breaks the internet for a day, and everyone's like, fuck, have you heard the new Sleep Token song? Like that shit to me is cool as fuck, because when you post something and no one's expecting it, and it ends up to be a fucking awesome song, like everyone's now chatting about it because there was no lead up to it, you know? Right.
It was a surprise. I mean, as a music fan, it always drives me nuts that somebody will announce an album and it'll be 5 months away.
Yeah.
And you're like, Jesus, right? Like Tim and I know for a fact the new Dying Fetus album is done. It's sitting in the label's hands. They probably won't release that till the summer. It's like, yo, it's fucking March. It's done. Let's get going. But to your point, Harvey, you talked about delays in vinyl pressing, right? Like there are some logistics stuff they got to work out. But man, I don't want to wait. Just get that shit in my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like the new Static X comes out in November. It's fucking March. Like, come on, man.
November.
Yeah, dude.
They really announced the November album?
Jesus.
They put out the Terrible Lie cover, the 9 Inch Nails cover, and then they're like, Project or whatever it's called, November. I'm like, what? Fuck.
I don't have the patience for that.
Me either, man.
I'd be so over the album by then. And like, we took about 2 years to write this album because of lockdown. And yeah, by the time it come out, I'm like, I've heard these songs so many fucking times. Like, I'm so ready to start work on album 2. But we actually need to tour it and like promote it now. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then it's like you heard them a million times when you're recording them and mixing
Yeah.
them, and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, dude, enough. Like, like your favorite songs, you're like, I fucking hate this song now.
Absolutely that. Like
Yep.
that's exactly it.
Like,
I know, man.
I can't imagine the bands that put out an album right as the lockdown hit, right? Like they just finished slogging away on it. They're ready to tour. They have to listen to this damn thing for another 18 months, 2 years, and then they got to hit the road and support them. And it's like, shit, I don't even want to talk about this. Can we go on to something else, right? Yeah. Like,
talk about Rude Records and how you guys got approached by them, because I haven't really heard of them until I'm sorry, dude. I can't think. My stomach is killing me, dude. I'm having a rough time here. What was the band we talked about that was
Blood
on
Youth.
Rude?
Blood Youth.
Yeah.
I didn't hear of Rude until Blood Youth, and then I started looking into them. I'm like, damn, they put out a lot of. It's like in a really eclectic list. It's like Armor for Sleep was on there, and then you guys, and like because I was like, oh, I guess they put out a bunch of the new wave of the new metal sound nowadays, but there was a lot of stuff on there. So how did they come about for you guys?
I think our manager, who's been with us since the start, like just put us out to some labels in general.
Gotcha.
And obviously we were like, oh, we want to be on Roadrunner, or we want to be on fucking the best label ever. But it was very much like, look, you can be on these labels, but you'll be the bottom of the barrel, where bigger bands will be the priority. So what's the point in, trying to get on the biggest label possible, because they won't give a fuck. So when we reached out to Rude were like instantaneously back to us and were like, yeah, this is fucking cool, let's work together. And I don't think we even considered another label. Like, we just knew straight from the get-go that it's a real tight-knit like group of people. Everyone's super fucking nice. Like, we can email each other whenever we want. We can have phone calls and shit. They just knew what we wanted to do and how we wanted to put things across. And I think they're great. Like, it's just a good fucking thing to work with. And like, the cool thing is like, I think there's only like 3 vinyl pressing factories or something in Europe, and they've got their own one.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's awesome. Like, they've only just acquired it. So whenever we want to do a reprint of a vinyl, they're like, yeah, cool. Like, give us a little bit of time and we'll have it all done for you. I think that's fucking wild.
That is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause those things, they don't grow on trees.
Printed on. Yeah. I think we're the first metal band to be printed on a sustainable plastic for vinyl, which is pretty
that's kind of cool
kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Is Rude a UK based label, or where are they from?
No, they're Italian.
Oh shit. Okay.
Italy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You make a good point, Harvey,
Yeah,
right? Like the idea of signing to a ginormous label versus a small label. Would you rather be the big fish in the small pond, or would you rather be the big fish in an enormous pond competing against fish that are your size, if not bigger, right? Because there's Tim and I have talked about it on previous episodes. The history of music is littered with bands that, their label just signed them, but then they didn't do anything with them, and the band kind of got the short shrift. I would go with a smaller label any day of the week.
You mean like Glassjaw? And
like Glassjaw, right? Like they got lost once Slipknot and Nickelback blew up. They were Roadrunner basically went, and look at the following that they have, right?
Yeah, I now that I'm thinking about that is a good point. Like, why go on Roadrunner if you're not going to get looked? Yeah, that's a great point actually.
Yeah,
good manager.
Yeah. Sorry, the connection went really weird then.
No, you're good.
No worries. We were just talking about, we were using Glassjaw as the example of a band who got signed to a label, and the label was like Slipknot, Nickelback. Sorry, Glassjaw. And,
and I think it's the best way to be. Like I feel like we're without like tooting our own horn in that sense, we're like very much their precious child on Rude Records now. Like, they really understand us now when they back us, and they can see what we can do and what we can produce musically. So now it's like, we're not just a band on the label. I think we're their band on the label kind of thing. And it's nice to see, because they genuinely do give a fuck about us. So yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. I'm convinced that's the future, right? It's going to be smaller boutique labels, like where you said, where they actually care about the artists. They're not out to make huge amounts of money. The example I use is I use the guy from, you ever hear of Wax Vessel, Harvey?
No.
So he's not a label. He does vinyl represses. And
Okay.
it's the stuff he was really into. So stuff in the same vein of like Arsonist Gets All the Girls, right?
Mhm.
That Sawtooth Grin, that sort of stuff. He does, you got to check him out, man. He does the most beautiful vinyl I have ever seen. But his whole thing is he has bands that he likes. He reaches out to them and said, hey, yo, I really loved your stuff back in the day. Can I put it back out on vinyl? And he'll do this super limited edition vinyl, and it gets people talking about that stuff again. I think that's the future.
That's
like
awesome.
get the fan involved in hey, I really like this band. You guys should all check this shit out. And he works with like, I think Pincore Merch has done like limited pins for him, and it's the fans celebrating the music that they like, and it gives the artist a nice fresh breath with honestly not having to do all the legwork.
Yeah.
Right?
I think as well, like coming from like a collector myself, it's like having a record that's like a limited edition, collector's edition, where it's got like, you know, the first 2 records and then like an art book or like some behind the scenes pictures and shit. Like for me, like fucking take my money. Like absolutely, I'm gonna buy that shit. So
Right.
having something like that is fucking cool.
So let me ask you, Harvey, if you get the choice to go out on tour and you get to pick the bands that you're touring with, who would you pick? So if you were doing like say you were doing a headline run, who would you pick to open for you?
To open for us, fuck. I don't even know. Like we usually ask like, who would you like to support?
Oh no, I'm going the other way, man. You guys get huge. And who would you pick to open for you?
Shit. I mean, fuck, man. Could you imagine if, like, for instance, like there was a Parkway Drive tour where like Killswitch was supporting Parkway, which I found fucking mind blowing. Like, because Killswitch are Killswitch. Like, I don't think you get any bigger like than that in the metalcore scene. Shit, if we're like the biggest band in the world, like I'll take fucking Slipknot opening for us and Korn as main support.
There you go.
That would be amazing. Amazing. Yeah. And you know what? Those big bands, I will guarantee that if we were able to interview them right now, they would be like, yeah, that would be kind of cool to go out, have no pressure, right? Like we're the opener, right? Like the old days, we just got to go out and kill it on the stage, not have to worry about all that stuff. There's got to be an interest for that. There really has to be.
I would absolutely open for bands for the rest of my life. I have no desire to headline. I don't give a fuck about, you know, like headline shows sold out. I don't care. Like if I could support on bigger tours and be the opening act, I don't have to wait to play. I sound check last. All my shit's already set up. And then we just enjoy the rest of the night. It's the best slot. And like, I don't understand when bands get like arsey about, oh, I don't want to open because like, you know, no one comes to watch us and shit. And I'm like, the people that want to watch you will be there. Just, you know, perform the best way that you can to the people that are in the room.
Mm-hmm.
They'll bring more people. Like that fucking Wayne's World 2 thing. Like if you tell them, they will come. So, you know, you just got to fucking do it. And it's the best slot.
The best point you made there is waiting around all fucking night to play last. Fuck that. I agree 110%. Give me first second, get me the fucking let me relax and watch the other bands. 110%. If you're listening to this and you're a band, you do not want to play last.
Yeah.
It does not. You're not cooler because you played last.
Yeah, this is a fucking thing that a lot of people think. They think like being the headline band of the night makes you like the fucking best thing in the world. Like, no one gives a shit if you're the headline band.
No
of the night.
one cares.
The amount of shows that we've played supporting other bands that are bigger than us, and someone's come up to us and been like, "I have never seen an opening band that good." That's better than someone coming up to me and being like, "Yeah, cool show, man. Like, played a sick set." Like for someone to come up to me and say the opening band was awesome is like, cool. Shit,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
You want the band playing after you to go, fuck, we have to follow that?
Yes,
exactly.
You don't want to have to be the last band. You want to blow that shit off the stage and the next band go, shit, man. Like they were too good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad you fucking said that because that is, I fucking hate it. Always hate it when we are playing last.
I like the fact that you have the openers are like, yo, fuck the headliner. I'm going to blow these motherfuckers off the stage and you got to follow me.
Hell yeah, man.
And that's the attitude you got to take. I just finished reading the book. It was by a fan who was of the band God Lives Underwater. Right. Which was an old, the electronic band from the 90s. And they talked about how they got kicked off the Space Hog tour because they were opening for Space Hog and people were watching them play and then clearing the fuck out. And they weren't staying for Space Hog. And the smart thing would have been, yo, can we go on before you? Let's swap headliners or let's work out a rotation. But yeah, they were that pissed. And then I remember that interview. I forget who Tim and I talked about it. We listened to an interview with somebody where they said, you know, what if the opening band, the band that you take out your opener, your direct support is hotter than you, and people leave after they play? And I forget who it was. They said,
Knocked loose.
We're still going to get paid. Every time I dive, oh yeah, that's right. Every time I dive, I had a joke about it when they took out Knock Loose right before Knock Loose became the monster that they are. And up on stage, Keith was like, I guess everybody was here for Knock Loose, but yeah, we got paid anyway. This next song's Floater. And then they just went into it. Like that's awesome, right? You want to create that, hey, you know, we're here to rock and good luck following us. And also I think about these massive touring packages, right? Like you just said, I never thought about that. You sit around all night, you sound check 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago. You're sitting around waiting to play. You play, then you have to tear down all your shit, get in the van and go.
And drive.
Whereas the opener probably took their time, had a beer, maybe caught something to eat, said hi to the fans, took their time, packed their shit, and they're on the road. You got to hustle from venue to venue to venue. That's rough, man. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, for like any headline shows we do, like we don't always have a merch guy. Like on the past few tours, like our friend Connor, who used to play in Loathe, but now he's doing like his own shit. He usually does merch for us. But whenever we're doing like a one-off show and he's not there, it's like I literally have to go straight from stage to the merch and like chat to people because I want to network and make new friends and shit. Mm-hmm. But then like my phone's going off like, Harv, we need to load out. And I'm like, I can't do two things at once. So, you know, if you're an opener, you've played, you help load off the stage, you like leisurely pack down your shit, you go grab a drink, hang at merch for the whole night. Like that is tip top. I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, man, you got the right attitude with that.
So speaking of merch, I can't believe this. I just came across a posting. I forget the band where they said they're over somewhere in the mainland Europe, and they said they are not selling merch at the show because the venue wants a 25% cut, and that's outrageous. I think the idea of venues taking merch cuts only makes sense if the band gets a cut of the bar. Yeah. Right? Because sure. I'm not showing up to the Trocadero in Philly on a random Tuesday to get a fucking vodka tonic. I'm there because Graphic Nature is playing and I'm going to have a drink while I'm watching. Yeah. And that's the part where I don't think these venues get it. I would just say, fuck it. I'm not taking any merch on tour. Yeah. I'll bring one of each, take a picture. It's on our web store. Order from the web store. We got a guy home packing out orders because that's fucking insane, man.
My thing is, right, the band are the ones putting the bodies in the room. So for the venue to then take money off of, the only thing that bands make money off of in general fucking blows my mind. Luckily, it's only, you know, massive venues that will do that. But in the same sense, like, if I'm ever playing a massive venue and the venue wants to take a 20% cut, fuck that. I'll tell you to meet me outside at the van afterwards. I'll sell the merch from the back of the van. I'm not in the premises, so fuck that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
I don't agree with
greed, man.
Yeah, it is. It's corporate greed. And if you watched any of the Ticketmaster testimony they had here in the States, where they brought the one guy from he was in a 6-person like world band, you know, like one of the, I don't want to make fun of him, but it's not my thing, right? Dave Matthews-y Rusted Root type shit. And he actually broke down the ticket price. And at the end of the night, the band, 6 members, they made like $9 total. And it's like, yo, that's insane. It's untenable. And I hope I'm thinking about buying tickets to The Cure, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this going to cost me? I'm going to have to like sell a kidney to get a ticket to this. Let me ask you, Harvey, what is some of the stuff that us over here in the States that we may not be aware of? What was some stuff that you would suggest to some of our listeners? Say, hey, you should check out these bands, that this shit from over here is pretty good and you might like it. If they like Graphic Nature, even if their tastes are well outside, what is some of the stuff that you would suggest our audience listens to?
So the bands that I've been listening to a lot recently, mainly just because they're friends of ours and I like to support people that we know. There's a band that are on our label called Modern Era, and they're very much like, they're playing, you know, our size venues. They're the kind of same level as us, but they need to be in stadium size venues because they've got that like epic kind of fucking 30 Seconds to Mars vibe to it.
Okay.
They're like a 3-piece, I think. And it's just fucking phenomenal. Like the album that they brought out, I think the album's called Era of the World. That might be the single. Anyway, that album is fucking incredible. There's a band called Lake Malice that are doing quite a few good bits now. They're out on tour with that Bloody Wood band out in Europe currently, and they're fucking awesome. There's like this trap kind of metal artist called Mimi Barks, and she's incredible live. Just, it's one of those things that like I listened to her on record and was like, okay, cool, this is all right. And then we played a show together in Walthamstow, which is kind of like London area. And when I saw her live, I was like, nah, I get it now. This is cool as shit. They're the 3 bands I could think off the top of my head. I'm sure there's loads more. I'm really into a band currently called Get the Shot. And I think they're from the States or Canada.
Yeah.
Fuck me, that band is so good. Like, I need to tour with that band. Yeah, they're
awesome. Shot members of shit, man. Yeah, they just put out a record not too long ago.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, I forget what members of bands they're from, but yeah. I definitely heard that record.
They're awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What else, Tim? What else?
Yeah, man, we can get out of here.
Awesome. So
I know
Harvey,
it's late over there, so
yeah, right. Harvey's had a full day. So first of all, dude, we really want to thank you for your time. We know this is working out. The time zones is rough, but we want to thank you.
That's so good, man.
If our listeners, if our audience, they want to find you, maybe they want to check out your music, they want to maybe order some merch online. Where do they go? Where do they find Graphic Nature?
Pretty much anywhere on social media. Are like, I don't know, username or tag will always be at Graphic Nature 404. It will come up straight away. Yeah, I mean, if you want to pre-order some like physical records, or if you're in the UK and want to come to a show, we're selling vinyls at the show. Ooh, Spotify, YouTube. Our main outlet is Instagram. Like, that's where we'll communicate more with people. We've got a cool Discord group of like super fans, which is just cool to like hang out with people and play video games and talk shit together. Like, that's nice. Yeah, just fuck it. I don't care. Message me on Instagram. I'll talk to anyone.
Awesome. All right, so we will throw some of those notes in the show notes. Once again, we want to thank Harvey for his time for coming on, and we want to thank all of you for tuning in once again. Find us on Instagram, find us on Twitter, _podcast. We have a YouTube channel, reaction vids every Friday. We have a Facebook group, which is actually getting kind of lively again, which is kind of surprising. I think Tim has been poking at it there. So find us there. So once again, Jay and Tim and Harvey, we want to thank everybody for listening. And until next time, this is New Breed Podcast saying peace.
Later.